Hey there, horror fiends! James J. Coco here with a brand new episode of TV Terrors. Now, of course, as I've said on previous episodes, I love Tales from the Crypt. I grew up with that show, and I still love it to this day. I mean, hell, look at my shirt. But arguably, there's a lot of episodes of Tales from the Crypt that are ghoulish and gory and messed up and sometimes even frightening. But there was one episode, particularly of season 5, which is probably the funniest episode of Tales from the Crypt, and that is Death of Some Salesmen. Death of Some Salesmen concerns us a greedy scumbag door-to-door salesman played by Ed Begley Jr., who scams old people and widowers out of their money buying fake funeral plots for their dead loved ones or when the old people eventually pass. He does this for a little bit until finally he gets to an old house and he tries to swindle an old couple, both Ma and Pa, out of their money. And of course, both the Ma and Pa are played by Tim Curry. Tim Curry kills it as these two, bringing a sort of different kind of personality to both of them. He tries to swindle them, but they soon catch on to his bullshit and immediately knock him out. It's there that he discovers that this Ma and Pa don't take kindly to salesmen. Also here, that they almost decide to kill him until the Ma decides to let their daughter Winona take a look at him since he's technically a looker and have a judgment for herself. It's then that the salesman eventually meets Winona, and the daughter is, of course, played by Tim Curry again. Now, these scenes are really funny because it's here that the salesman actually confesses his love for Winona, and Winona tests him on that love by taking her up into her room and seeing if he can prove his love for her. It's there that leads to one of the funniest, most awkward and gross sex scenes in the whole show, that every single time I watch it, I just can't help but just laugh and laugh during the scene. After that fun little scene, it's where Winona actually says that her father, Pa, has a dowry hidden in deep in the basement of their house, a dowry worth almost $40,000 or $50,000. And of course, Ed Begley Jr.'s scummy salesman character immediately seizes this opportunity. They try to get wed, with the Pa being the minister. It's there that a scuffle breaks out, and the only one left standing is, of course, the salesman. Now, but the salesman is in for a surprise, and of course, in typical Tales from the Crypt fashion, the scumbag of the episode gets his just comeuppance. This episode is an incredibly fun and funny one. It has that really dark humor that you would expect in a Tales from the Crypt episode, especially when the Ma and Pa are revealed to be killers of salesmen. You also not only have that dark humor, but you have that awkward, weird, gross-out humor with Winona, and of course the scene where Ed Begley Jr. has to get an erection, and then the awkward, funny sex scene. Now, Ed Begley Jr. does a terrific job as the scummy, greedy salesman, but of course the real star of this show is Tim Curry. Tim Curry kills it as all three roles in this episode, and brings a sort of different funny, awkward, gross, evil personality to the daughter, the Ma, and the Pa. So this is one hell of a funny episode, and for all those people who love Tim Curry, and believe me, There's a lot of people who love Tim Curry on the internet. This is like their little hidden gem of Tim Curry goodness. A lot of people love him as It, Pennywise the Clown, or Rocky Horror, or Clue, Home Alone 2, and even my personal favorite, Muppet Treasure Island. But here is where he's really shining in a really gross, weird Tales from the Crypt fashion. Oh, might I add that the Crypt Keeper segments are, of course, fun and punny as hell, with Crypt Keeper being a TV salesman on the opening segment, and then the last segment, of course, he's like a grocery store clerk. So if you want a fun and funny episode of Tales from the Crypt that showcases Tim Curry's talent, definitely seek out Death of Some Salesmen.
Good old Judd. Just another satisfied ghostomer. I guess it's true what they say. The family that slays together stays together.